Scholars, welcome to Module 1, where we are discussing the structure of a government administrative agency that's either in federal, local government that affects you and your family and overall affects all Americans. The importance of this exercise is to look at where these laws come from. We know they come from Congress. Congress passes laws. They pass them on to the appropriate department to enforce them, statewide, local-wide, and through ordinance and acts, and companies and local laws. To politicians take those on to make those into local policy. So I want to just really step back, look at what is the law, why does it affect you? Look at the structure of the agency and see how big some of these agencies really are. How they manage, what are the functions within them, understand the whole organization, how it dwindles down to you and I as everyday citizens, and how these laws affect our lives. So the attention to detail in this question is to understand the structure, organizational structure from the macro view, the big view of it, how to get down on the deck plates and look at every detail of who's doing what. What service does this department or agency provide to the American public, and why? What's the purpose of it? Is there a purpose of it? Are there any outside influences? And look at its influences, looking at me and you citizens, lobbyists, corporations, any foreign influences, etc., stuff like that. How do they influence the organization to function, enforce law, not enforce law, look the other way, stuff like that, kind of look at the ethical side of it. Is those influence a positive influence, or are they a negative influence, or are they both? Most organizations have both, so that kind of that struggle, that's where the ethical piece of it comes in to an organization that pushes the law to the tippy end, where they're not breaking law, they're almost breaking law, but they're doing just enough that the organization is not breaking law. Walmart's a good example of that, of pushing the envelope on laws and policies to put, get their big stores in different countries and different areas of the U.S. So look at that, but that's getting a little too deep into it. What are the ethical implications that, with respect to the agency in the business world? Is this organization like the FDA or FCC functioning well with the business world? What's the ethical implications there? What's grinding their gears? Do they get along well? Is there always, not everything's all hunky-dory all the time between government agency and private corporations. We know that. We've seen that occur in politics. And how does the government agency interact with a private nonprofit organization? For example, there I've said, EPA's regulation how much industry waste is dumped in local waters. The Clean Water Act 1972 affects all factories dumping waste into local streams. That some companies have a problem with that, because they want to dump their waste and keep doing their business, not worry about having to worry about laws. But on the other end of that, you and I downstream, that's drinking that water, or swimming that water, or fishing that water, or whatever, are being affected by that. So do we want to play in water that's toxic, or do we want clean water where fish thrive, plants thrive, and have part of the ecosystem? So kind of looking at that. What effect does agency have on the business world? How does the agency you're looking at interact with the business world? What is their influence? What is their impact? How do they play together well? Do they play together well? Right? That goes looking at the ethics of the company taking on board the laws and regulations and putting them into practice in their business world. OSHA is a good example of that. Does the company you're looking at play well with OSHA? Do they like OSHA? No, we don't like OSHA because it's telling us what to do. We just want to make our product and make money and move on. But in the meanwhile, we got the OSHA regulations want to keep employees protected from dangerous chemicals, dangerous environments, stuff like that. And if you're familiar with OSHA, you understand what I'm talking about. If you're not, maybe it's a good organization to look at. Consider laws that are in place to protect workers as well as the company. Again, that goes back to OSHA. And finally, focus on the legal impact the agency and the department has on a U.S. company, as well the ethical implications. So the big focus here is understand what the big agency has to do within the U.S., how well they play with the corporations and citizens, and what ethical issues are out there. There are ethical issues out there, believe it or not. You have to dig around, you have to make some assumptions, you have to read between the lines and figure out, okay, what's going on here, and go from there. So this is a very in-depth, detailed discussion. Be sure you answer all the questions that are up in the discussion module there, and answer to your best of your ability. Do some research. These can be fun. And if you have any questions, please do not be afraid to ask. Thanks.